I'm now excited to be joined by a very special guest. It is Duke head coach Mike Elko. Mike, you've been on the job for about 2.5 months now. We were talking a little bit before we came on here. Have you had time to do the moving thing yet? Are you sleeping on an air mattress in the office? What's that been like so far?
Yeah, so I'm in the hotel that is located as close to campus as I could possibly find. I've learned how to get from the hotel to my office, and that's about the extent of it. We kind of got the process of moving going a little bit, but that's going to be more of a summer project. Still focused on getting this thing up and running the way we need it to.
This opportunity, it's been a long time coming for you. 13 seasons as an FBS defensive coordinator, 4 different programs, the last 4 of which, of course, at Texas A&M. Timing is everything in life. And I remember thinking before the start of this season that the timing was really going to make a lot of sense for you to have a head coaching job at the end of the 2021 season. Your son going off to college, playing baseball at Northwestern. You guys were going to have a really special group on that side at A&M, and it all finally lined up for you in the right sort of way. Why was the timing right for you to be able to take that next step?
Yeah, I think it was less about the timing, to be honest, Connor, and more about the opportunity. I think I've always been kind of focused on making sure that when I did ultimately step into this chair, that I did it at a place that I felt comfortable with and I believed in. And so I think when this opportunity came about, I think this one just kind of aligned with a lot of what I believe and a lot of what I stand for. I think we can run the program that I want to run here, and I think we can elevate this football program to a pretty high level in this conference. And so I think it was more about Duke and the opportunity than the timing, to be honest.
You talk to people in this industry. In this era of college football, do you think defensive-minded head coaches are at any sort of a disadvantage during the hiring process?
Yeah, I certainly feels that way a little bit at times. Although I always have come back with, when you look at what's going on in the playoffs every year, you got Luke Fickell, you've got Nick Saban, you've got Kirby Smart, you've got defensive-minded head coaches at the top of the game in so many ways. But yeah, it does feel like at times it's a little hurdle. Everyone assumes we don't know anything about offensive football, and we just want to win games 7-3. And so, I think over the years, though, you just kind of learn how to talk through it and kind of put your story across and present yourself.
I got to ask about a couple of guys that you had at A&M. I've got a theory that DeMarvin Leal, he was so good and he had such great endurance that there should have been a rule that he had to leave the field 1 play per possession just to give the offensive line a break to catch its breath. What do you think about that idea?
Yeah, no, we weren't taking him off the field no matter what it helped the offensive line. No, I mean, DeMarvin was such a special player, and I think he's just such a unique blend of a kid who can play on the edge, also play inside. He's got a great work ethic. He's got a high motor. He's a great character kid. He was a great leader for us. He just did so many things for our defense and our team, and we put a lot on him. We asked a lot of him, and he delivered and really helped us put together a pretty special unit.
I've been trying to get out ahead of this for a little while. I think Antonio Johnson deserves to be a household name in college football, should be starting off as an All-American coming into next season. I love the way that you used him in a variety of different spots, and even being able to just say, hey, go rush the quarterback, go just try and just be a problem in the middle of your defense. Why is he someone that should become a household name for all college football fans?
Yeah, well, I'm on that bandwagon too. So if that helps you get the train rolling, I'm all for it. I think he's an extremely special player. I just think he's got such a natural instinct to be a football playmaker. And you say the different things that I did with him or that we did with him to put him in position. Really, he did it so much in his own way because he was such a dynamic kid. He forced us to find ways to get him involved. Like as you're scheming with a kid like that, you never want to be like, oh, he's not going to be involved in this play. Like he forced you to figure out how to get him involved and how to make him the blitzer or make him the guy covering the right receiver. Or he's just got such a unique skill set. And this was really, he was a non-mid-year COVID kid, right? And so he still hasn't even truly seen the peak of what he's capable of becoming, getting a full offseason after a full year starting. Like I think what you saw from him this year really is just the start of it. I think you're going to see an unbelievable player next year in the SEC in Antonio Johnson.
I know you've talked about this in the past, but I want to go back to when Jimbo gives you that call when you're at Notre Dame. You have this great defense, you lead them to the playoff, and a lot of people in your spot, it's like, all right, I'm not going to leave a position like this unless it's for a head coaching gig. And there are a lot of people who look at anything that Jimbo does and they just assume, oh, it's because of money, it's because of College Station, deep pockets, all those things. But we've talked a lot with this Auburn stuff that's been going on about alignment and how important that is to be able to have within an administration. How important was that in your decision to ultimately leave South Bend and go to a place at Texas A&M where you know all the resources are there and you're going to be working with the best athletes in all of college football?
Yeah, I've never made a decision in my career for money. I think that's one of the worst things you can do in this coaching profession. I think you see guys get wrapped up in oh, this is a little bit more money or this is a lot more money, and you wind up in bad situations. I went to Texas A&M because I believed in Jimbo and I believed in what Texas A&M could be, and maybe he's a better recruiter than anyone gives him credit for because he sold me on it a little bit, but I felt like that was the right spot. And obviously there's an allure of the SEC. I certainly didn't want to go through my career without ever experiencing it. As I look through it, Texas A&M seemed like the right place for me and my family to be part of it. And, it was an awesome 4-year experience. I learned so much working with him. And you're right. I don't think people, for whatever reason, people don't want to give him the credit he deserves for the job that he does. It's not just money, and Texas A&M is a really special place across the board.
2020, everyone in the college football world is debating A&M versus Notre Dame. Was that awkward for you, given the time that you spent there and having to deal with all these pundits talking about that for the final playoff spot?
Yeah, you don't ever want to be involved in those conversations with people that you know and respect. Because it feels like you're slighting them. Every time you advocate for yourself, you feel like you're slighting them. And I never wanted to do that. They had a really good year. We had a really good year. I felt like being a 9-1 SEC football team earned us a right to make that playoff. It seems to every year before and after that season. But also I respect the job that they did that year, and they had a really good year too. So, but it would have been nice to get in. I felt like we deserved it.
You talk about the not giving Jimbo credit, and now something that I'm sure you're going to be looking out for as a head coach and being kind of under the microscope all the time is, am I getting credit for the things I should be getting credit for? I'm curious your take on the whole deal with Jimbo talking about signing day, the NIL stuff. What was your takeaway from that? And maybe what's been your biggest takeaway just from the NIL era in general?
Yeah, Jimbo signed the #1 recruiting class in the country to Texas A&M, and when you do that, you deserve praise. And point blank, there's really no other way to look at it. I just think it's to look at it any other way is unfair. It takes so much work. It takes so many people. It takes an effort from such a large group to do that. To try to turn this into any other story, to me, just isn't right. I think it deserves a ton of praise that he was able to go out and land the class that he did.
Yeah, and we don't need to get into bro Bible or sliced bread or anything like that.
Yeah, no, that's not my world. You can ask him. You can talk to him about that stuff. I hear where he's coming from. You just want somebody to say like, "Hey, congrats! You signed the #1 class in the country. That's awesome." That's what you deserve when you do that. So it doesn't need to be anything else.
Yeah. Instead, you got Lane talking about luxury taxes and whatnot and that whole mess. Yeah. Shifting gears a little bit. I've always wondered about this. You take over a place with essentially a top sports bucket list venue in your backyard. Obviously, you want to highlight the football program, facilities, all those different things. But how much have you used Cameron Indoor to your advantage in recruiting so far in these first 2.5 months?
Yeah, I mean, you'd be crazy not to. I think you're selling a vision of what Duke football is capable of becoming because you see what not only Duke basketball, but really a lot of our other sports have become. This is a campus where a lot of our schools are competing at the highest level. They're winning ACC championships. They're competing for national championships. And we're able to attract elite student athletes to come here, people who really want the best of both worlds in their experience. And so we're just trying to translate that into football. And we're pointing to them and saying, hey, look what they're doing. Hey, look what our women's golf team is doing. Hey, look what our baseball team is doing. This is not a shot in the dark that we're taking, telling you that Duke football can elevate to a competitive situation. It's happening on our campus all over the place. We just want to get our situation fixed and get it where it needs to be.
I won't tell on you, and you can keep this between us. That's totally fine. I know I'd be guilty of this. Have you snuck off during after hours to just go in there and kind of get some shots up?
So I don't know if you saw the foul shot. So the foul shot went in. So they had me out at half court or at center court at halftime the other night. I had to make a foul shot. So that went right through the net. So you can keep that on social media and give me a little props for nailing that one. But no, it's certainly a venue, right? The first time I went out when I got named head coach and walked out to center court and I'm standing at center court at Cameron and Coach K comes over and shakes your hand. And it's a surreal feeling. There's no doubt about it.
Coach K, that relationship, is that like, do you feel like he's promoting you? And, have you guys been able to have those conversations yet? Or is it kind of like, hey, you've got a million things to worry about? And he's obviously mid-season right now.
I mean, he's been great. Like, I don't want to sit down and say we've had a ton of sit downs. He's in the middle of his season and trying to go win a national championship. And I certainly got my hands full right now, but we've connected on text quite a bit. And I was able to go over there and spend some time with them and visit with them a little bit, him and Coach Shire. And, hopefully be able to utilize those guys as resources moving forward. Once, my life slows down and their season ends, I think will probably be a better time for that.
I know you got to run here. I got 5 rapid fire questions. Just first thing that comes to mind. Does that work for you?
Yeah, you got it.
All right. First one, best offensive mind you've ever faced.
Jimbo.
Good answer. 2, biggest problem in college football right now: A, targeting; B, faking injuries; or C, the transfer portal.
See the transfer portal. It's not even close.
Okay. Let's go back to the Notre Dame thing. Have you ever faked a Southern accent?
No, never.
Best piece of advice you've ever been given was what?
Do the best you can at the place you're at, and good opportunities will come to you.
I love that. Last one here. You're about to be rivals with my guy, Gene Chizik, now that he's the defensive coordinator at North Carolina. My question is just simply, can you be nice to him?
Of course. Yeah, I got a lot of respect for Gene. Gene to me is not a Carolina guy. Gene's the SEC broadcaster who had a lot of nice things to say about me over the years. So now is probably the right time for Gene to be a DC, me to be a head coach. It works out well.
Love it, Mike. This has been great. It's been fun getting to see your rise. Best of luck with everything, man.
Yeah, appreciate you, Connor. Appreciate you having me on.